Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a racing VTuber and an artist. Today we're going to be working a little bit more on the comic. As you can see, we're working on page 7 now. We're actually making quite good headway. I'm very proud of myself for it. That being said, I really need to learn my lesson. I was struggling with this page, with this panel actually, all day yesterday, and it took me finally sucking it up and recreating the pose with the 3D models until I finally felt like I got it right. I thought I still need to make a little bit of an adjustment here and there, but just a little bit of a one. Thankfully, the back of the arm is obscured in this case, so I don't need to worry about that much. Okay. We get serious. All right, this is work that is meant to be taken fucking seriously, and we are not going to dick around while we do it, no matter how funny it looks when I do this. Oh god, what is happening with their midsection now? God, it's like the most messed up version of doing the worm. Anyway, as I was saying, let's see here. Yeah, the only bad part is that I have to constantly flip between the original reference here and the new reference here, which can be a little bit jarring because some has elements that the other doesn't. But for the sake of economics of action, we must carry forth regardless. Let's see. The ruler turned on this one. I don't know what I think what the rulers on the panels do is that they make the lines stick to the border here. I don't want that either way. Man, I wish I could read Japanese so I knew what this said. I think it means something like baseball bat swing, because that's what the action is. Actually, forget Japanese. I need to learn how to speak Spanish again. I am at great risk of becoming some kind of monolingual fuck if I can't get my act together with regards to Spanish. I remember trying to read Don Quixote at one time, and I quickly realized that I was completely out of my depth. I remember I also tried to read Holes during. Okay, so fun story from when I was in middle school. I had an option of taking like a language class, and just for kicks, right? I decided to take Spanish because I didn't want to learn the other languages that were offered at the time. And also, I thought I could just like ace it pretty easily because, born native speaker. But the problem is that the faculty of the school were already wise to this because they knew, like, my brother was also enrolled at the school. So what ended up happening is that they were wise to this bullshit. They were like, all right, listen, we can't just put you in like the fucking normal Spanish class because that's not going to teach you anything. We're going to put you in like this super advanced Spanish class where you'll be basically doing like high school level assignments as a middle schooler, or essentially just a very high middle school Spanish class. And I was like, fuck, all right, well, I guess this beats learning the other language, so I'll go with it. And I did. And I had just the worst time of my life, because not only because I wasn't like fully conscious at the time. I feel like some people are aware of their consciousness pretty early on. I was like definitely like a late bloomer. It definitely took me until I was like 13 or 14 until I felt like I had like an actual agency in my life. So I was rather struggling during these classes, but I actually did end up learning a lot, including having read the Spanish version of the rather excellent book Holes, which I highly recommend to anybody who can get their hands on a copy. Holes is a very good book. It's not exactly like advanced reading, but it's also not like, I feel like you need to read Holes in a very specific time of your life, and it'll change you forever. It's like one of those books, right? Let's see. Actually, I'm going to put this arm back because I think, let me take a look here. It actually makes more sense for her hand to like slide up all the way there. Or actually, hang on, I can just put this guy's arm back. I say with a massive degree of hubris. Hang on. Yeah, this will do. It'll be mostly covered by the helmet, so I'm not too worried about all that. Yeah. I got the knack for learning a lot of stuff growing up, but I never quite got the knack for languages or music. See, the thing is that learning is also a skill, right? Like you can be really good at learning stuff, and that's how I've gotten by for most of my life. I've just been really good at learning the stuff that I needed to know, specifically stuff like academic stuff or scholarly stuff, like textbook, uh, business regulations, for example. I can like learn that pretty easily. I can figure out what I need to know about each part. I can figure out like the best way to study the different parts, how to remember everything. That's not the most difficult thing in the world for me. That's definitely manageable. It's not something that I do for fun. It's not something that I just do to flex. But if it need be, I can do it. Conversely, music and language, I just have an incredibly difficult time learning mainly because I haven't taken like a structured course for either of them in a long time, but also because it just feels very open as like an art form and as a resource, right? Because language, obviously, it's very difficult to say, okay, if you know these 300 words, you know everything you need to know already. No, you need to know specific words for specific situations. It might have more complications depending on everything. I'm thinking specifically of like trying to learn, for example, like Japanese or Chinese, right? Right. Like characters in Chinese are very difficult to learn. Although you can't get the hang of it after a little while. I recognize a lot of the characters that I see regularly in anime now, right? For example, the character for Dog I recognize on instinct now, but it took a while to get there. And I reckon it's a little bit easier if you're trying to learn it consciously. But at the same time, the problem with that, I reckon, is that unless you're following a very specific curriculum or you have a very specified use case for it, you're effectively never going to really stop learning. And I think that's what kind of have the most issues with is areas where you can't learn anything more. Or no, it's not that. It's the opposite actually. Rather than be struggling with things that I can't that have like a limit to how much you can learn, I struggle with things that have an unlimited amount of learning. Well, I guess that's true for a lot of people too. If the curriculum is intimidating, it's very difficult for me to get motivated. Hmm. I wonder if there's more if there's a way to like get like a go-getter attitude for this sort of stuff. I guess the easiest way would be to find a reason to get motivated for it, right? Like if you wanted, for example, to host a music production thing, right? If you wanted to host a concert or sing your own original music at some point, I feel like that would be a good way to get you started. I think that's true for a lot of art stuff, though. Come to think of it, because that's also how I learned Blender and Live 2D. I wanted to make models for myself. I've kind of made peace with the fact that I'm never gonna like truly know Live 2D though. I understand the basics of it, and I can rig a model fairly competently, assuming it's not too complicated. But other than that, I kind of recognize that's not where I'm going to be focusing my energy probably ever. Not to mention, I did cancel my subscription a while ago. does hurt the pocket after a while, even though it's like $8 a month. I much prefer doing something like these things now, these PNG models. For some reason nowadays, the PNG models remind me a lot of those Captain Underpants Flipperama things. Like I see, like I remember, I see this model that I made for my friend Preston not too long ago, and I remember the Flipperamas a lot. When the principles of that, how it essentially taught me that like two images cycling together rapidly can create a motion. Man, I hope the guy who created Captain Underpants is doing okay. Those books were practically part of my childhood. Okay, well, let's see. We'll put the goggles here. The good news is that because now I get the shape of the helmet, I generally don't need to add it in addition to the head, if that makes sense. Like if I have one, I don't need the other. I am going to find a way to. The problem is that because Hawk's helmet has that kind of like visor shape right on the top, it's hard to figure out how to make her headbutt people because generally you'd use like the forehead, which is this pretty flat part. Actually, specifically for headbutting, from what I understand, you're supposed to use this part just above the bridge of your nose, which is supposed to be like one of the most bone dense parts of your forehead. I almost said bone. I guess it's the densest part of your head bone. Bonehead, head bone, head bane, brain damage. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. No, wait, this doesn't feel right. Let me put this out a little bit further. Actually, this feels kind of right itself. Let me just adjust it a little bit. There we go. I think I need to put this part thing, this part of the visor a little bit higher. I think that'll fix my issues with the image of it. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, and flip it around like this. Yeah. Talking about books from my childhood, I know that the dude who made Diary of a Wimpy Kid is still active. I know that guy's still out doing whatever the hell it is he does. Let's see. There we go. You know, I've always wondered if like the fact that like, you know, during the mid 2010s, during the mid or the late 2000, not even the late 2010s. Yeah, definitely the mid 2010s. Did you is it just me or was there like a boom in like especially the Western anime fandom over protagonists who are just kind of douchebags a little bit? Like I noticed I noticed that a lot. Like a lot it was very popular that like sarcastic smartasses were like the leading protagonists. Like you saw this a lot in stuff like Konosuba getting super popular. But I also noticed it a lot in kind of internet genre stuff, you know, like Freeman's Mind, for example. Pretty Freeman's Might is a really good web series. I absolutely should not have watched it at such an impressionable age. I don't know. It's a well-made series. It's just kind of mean, right? It's not good to get into your head that that's a funny way to interact with people. I mean, obviously that might be skill issue in effect, but I feel like teenagers should not be allowed to consume that sort of thing before they've fully developed their personalities. Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. I can just break people's anatomies. I forgot about that skill that I have as an artist. No, this doesn't work because then the neck would be struggling somewhat. I guess maybe if we lifted the hips somehow? Alright. Time to do your crunches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. 10 seconds break and then we do another 30 seconds. Tabata style. Here we go. Anyway. Let me take a look at the because in the original version I definitely had it be so that Hawk's visor was the thing that kind of like ran over this guy's eyeglasses. Yeah, like that. Maybe if I reposition the neck a little. That could work actually. Hang on. Meat's back on the menu, I think. There we go. Oh yeah. So we've obviously entered Christmas zone, right? Like it is now currently fully in swing, holiday season, right? Hang on. Oh shoot, my chat isn't active. Hang on. Buh, 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 buh. Let me restart that. Oh, that's odd. Oh, there we go. Perfect. I was like, huh. You know the my my OBS window has like a big white block that I don't remember being there. I'm extremely observant until I'm not, I think. That's like my thing is that I'm hyper aware of everything until I'm not. I perceive everything until I don't. That is like my superpower and my curse. Oh yeah, I was talking about like December and it being the season and such. So I remember back in October even, like while there were still Halloween decorations up, they were battling for a shelf. You know, I visited this dollar store very frequently, right? The dollar stores here are awesome because they not only have like a bunch of, you know, obviously like knickknacks and little things like that. They have a lot of basic amenities too, which I often take advantage of. And also some drinks that some of the other stores don't have too. Anyway, the dollar store which I regularly visit had like this during like the ends of October or like the beginnings of November. No, actually, no, it wouldn't have been the beginnings of November because they still had Halloween stuff up. But I remember seeing Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff like side by side, battling for shelf space back in October. And I think we've all noticed that like it's like this running joke, right? That like every year Christmas decorations come in just a little bit earlier, right? Like it's one of those like boomer jokes even that's like, "Oh, come on, it's only November. Why are you already putting up Christmas decorations?" You know, it's a very much like like weekday cartoon kind of gripe. However, there is apparently like a trend of it actually happening. So what happened is that back in COVID era, so past few years really, still, including this year because, COVID's not really over, but we don't really talk about that. Anyway, one of the reasons is that there were supply chain issues during the peak of COVID. And so what stores ended up doing is that they ended up stocking up much earlier and rolling this stuff out much earlier as well to compensate for that lack of supply chain. So their logic was if we start selling this stuff earlier and we have it in stock sooner, we essentially run out of the issue of not having stock because one, everybody who wants to buy some of these can just buy it right away. And two, if we have like overstock, we can just wait until peak season to sell it off. And this actually seemed to work. But the problem is that that's a little bit of a stretch now because I feel like most of those supply chain issues should have been resolved at some point by now. I don't buy so much into that narrative being like the entire cause of it. Maybe it's just like a trend that they saw had benefits and maybe now they're just doing it regularly. I don't think that's impossible. This is also such a big jetpack. Like, look how big it is compared to the people. That's too small, conversely. That's a little too small. Alright, flip this around. Move this like so. Move it a little bit further in. Actually, even move it up. Have it intersect with the helmet. Okay. There we go. Oh god, her ribs must not be feeling great right now. But yeah. Speaking of holiday decorations, I don't know how ham the folks watching this go on their holiday decorating. I don't really do much of it myself. I don't even have a Christmas tree, to be honest. But I do see. I don't decorate specifically for the holidays, but the problem is I also don't de-decorate once the holidays are over. Like for example, I have these Halloween decorations that I have up year round. I have the first one that I got was like this this like black crow statue, which I have now outfitted with a ribbon and a flag that I got from a random event. So that's just up year round now, even though it's supposed to be a Halloween decoration. And likewise, I also have a stocking that my parents gifted to me. It's this very cute one with like a reindeer on it that says Merry Xmas. I just have that hung up on my bedroom door most of the year. Not really like changing it or taking it down. It's just there. I don't even store anything in it. Like I said, it's just present. So yeah, I don't really decorate, but neither do I really not decorate. I I also have like this sick ass plastic skull. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a wireframe skull that was another Halloween decoration from the dollar store. Let me see if I can find like a hang on. Hollow black plastic skull. It's really cool looking because it's got like a bunch of different little holes in it. Let's see if I can find something like it. Hmm. I can't really find anything like it quite. It's like it's got like a bunch of grooves carved into it that go all the way through. Oh wow, they sell Cubone skulls on Etsy. Sentences that could also be used in the Pokemon universe. No. None of these really fit the bill of what I'm thinking of, though. Maybe I just look Hang on, like Plastic skull with holes. Not like this, not like that. I don't know how to describe it. Hang on. May like it would be easier to describe using like one of these okay, so this is like a decorated skull, right? Imagine all of the lines, like the pink lines, the blue lines, all the ones around here. Instead of being just paint, they were like holes into the center of the skull. I should take a picture of it and show it off later, but it's really cool looking. Also, I can't help but notice that this one's got a pencil for a nose, which is very charming. Okay, add this like so. I'm trying to figure out how to like make the rocket have the most impact. I do want to add some of these little wingdings to the ultimate effect, which is bumping on her head and then having that bump into this guy's skull. God, I said this before when I was making the drafts for this page. Poor Hawk with her fucking skull done like a milkshake. This chapter, this issue. It's not right that somebody's brain matter should take that much abuse. I have a big ick about like stuff that damages my brain in general, like that stuff that like permanently damages my gray matter because I get well no it's not just that, right? It's anything that can permanently damage me because as far as I'm aware there's no way to recover from brain damage unless something super impressive has happened in the medical sciences in the last 10 or so years since I learned this fact. I learned that apparently you can't regrow your brain so much. You can't recover from brain damage fully. So that always made me super nervous about it. And that's true for damage to anything that's kind of permanent, right? Like, for example, damage to your teeth. I don't like that. Damage to the organs is also something that I don't really enjoy. I mean, it's hard to say that anybody enjoys these things, but they're to me like particularly distressing types of damage. Okay, add the belt here. There we go. I guess damage to teeth isn't as drastic as other cases though, because I do know that we've more or less gotten replacing teeth down to a science. So there are ways to cope with that pretty well, but not so much with brain damage. I mean, like I said, there might have been some massive development in the last few years that I'm not aware of. Okay, then we go like this. Erase this part here. Give this man his buttons. I wonder if I'll ever fully go haunting mode. I've helped my family decorate the tree a couple of times, but I don't think I've ever gotten like super festive besides changing my profile picture every now and again. I know there are people who love certain holidays, right? Like, obviously, there are a lot of folks who are huge fans of Halloween. But I don't really have one of those. I'm not even that passionate about my own birthday, to be honest. Let's see. Birthdays are complicated because I like being the center of attention, but I want it to be organic, not like an event, right? Like I don't like being the center of attention as a form of responsibility. I remember there was this one picture that somebody shared on the internet of their little cousin or essentially that like one of their relatives had a baby who was having his 100-day ceremony in Korea, and the baby was dressed in like this super regal like traditional attire and looked extremely dignified for a child who was 100 days old. So yeah, I hope that kid photographs nearly half as well in the future. If he can get that down, he's gonna have a real good life. There's a certain talent to photographing well. I know there are people who don't photograph too well because they even unconsciously like force themselves to make an expression, right? I think that's actually quite a good thing though. I feel like even if the expression isn't super photogenic, right? I feel like if you're making a strong expression regardless. I think it still conveys the feeling of like, hey, I know I'm being photographed, and I want to show up interesting for it. I remember there was a phase when me and my brother tried to not smile in photographs. I think it was because I was copying my brother, and my brother was having an emo phase. For some reason, we were being a little contrarians like that. So what our dad would do is that he would like tickle us to get us to laugh. And now it's like a constant thread. Like he hasn't stopped doing it is the problem. He hasn't stopped doing it. So now, whenever we get in close for a photo, we're like basically on high alert in case our dad tries to sneak in with like a tickle attack. Oh man, I love my family, but yeah, we were like we had to be on like fucking high alert. The man was doing like Machiavellian shit. Like he was pretending not to do it, and then he did it anyway. Sometimes. Oh man. I unironically think my dad is one of the funniest people in our family. Like he doesn't joke often. He doesn't do like a whole lot of jokes. Like he's not like a class clown like I am, right? But when he does, holy shit, funniest shit ever. Genuinely. Hmm. Something. Okay, so the neck is the main problem right here. Hmm. One, two, three, four, five. Missing the sixth one. Okay, we'll put one right up here. Okay, and I'll add the other wing of the armor right over here. Do I do that in the first panel? No, this one is just kind of flat like that. Okay. We'll add a little bit of the second wing right here. Okay, then change it out like this. Then like this. Yeah, we'll go with that. Hang on, let me take a look at this without the models. Yeah, something about that is odd. All right, let's backpedal a little bit. Not that far back. So I think what we need to do is to remove the implication that this is like a side profile of it, and instead move these a little bit further up. Okay, there we go. Then over here. And then over here. Okay, we do that. And remove this line here. And actually move this even a little further out, like that. Not like that, like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I feel like that makes at least a little bit more sense than what I originally planned. And we'll do a quick switcheroo here too, to put this one a little bit further up. I need to do more body studies at one point, or at least like armor studies, right? Drawing this bib armor that I've made for these goons is making me realize some of the limitations I have of my style for stuff like plated armor like this. Ideally, I'd be able to make a 3D model of the entire character and then just move them around as needed. I feel like that's the easiest way to kind of avoid this issue in the future. That or do what the classic artist did, which is toil for over 300 hours studying how people move with, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think about like this one comic that that Raph, the author of the comic, who is also my friend, showed me, right? Space Cobra is the name of the comic. And it has some of the most gorgeous art I have ever seen for some of the most insane story plot lines ever put to paper. And I want to learn how to be able to draw with that degree of detail, with that kind of panache, really. Because I feel like my style kind of falls apart. It's serviceable, but it falls apart under scrutiny. And I want it to be more solid. I wanted to have strong foundations. What I reckon that has to be the case is that in addition to experience, there has to be a trick or a specific way of thinking that can help me draw these things. Or at least give me a good start to doing it. Obviously, the fact that they aren't as flexible as ordinary flesh is a good start, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I should bear in mind. Well, I'll figure it out or I won't. For the time being, I'm doing the best that I can with the tools that I've been given. That's all I can do. Hang on. There we go. Now's about the time to start taking out the 3D models and start adding in some details from the original sketch. Mainly, for example, like this head bump right here. Oops, I reached the top of my... Whenever you see me suddenly deviate a line like that, that's because I've reached the top of my drawing tablet. Which means I should probably position it a little bit further up so I can keep drawing comfortably. Let me lower the stabilization too. I feel like that usually helps too. Oh wait, it's already at 0. Perhaps taking a sip of water and flexing my wrist shall help with this. Recently on Twitter, there's been this account, Shindigs, I think their name is, that shows off a lot of interesting OBS interactions that VTubers have added to their setup. My favorite so far is this one guy who has model kit building streams, and his input is basically it's very easy to describe, but it's very difficult to put into words for me. So he has a stream setup. So kind of like how I have my chat box and I have my transcript right there. He also has those as screens. But the clever part is that they're not just virtual assets. They are actual screens that he is live recording from a camera. So what he can do is, in essence, once he finishes the model, he can put it in front of the camera over the kind of overlay and show it off that way, and it creates this really interesting effect. I was genuinely scared when I saw that at first. I was like, have you ever seen that like picture or film of audience members going to their first movie and being scared out of their wits by like a train? Same idea. I felt exactly like that. I understood in that moment their pain. How else can I add impact to this? Maybe like this. Hang on. And actually, hang on. Maybe more even like. Hang on. There we go. We'll do that a little bit with the lines here too. Anyway, I've been talking about this because that got me thinking about different ways to change up my own stream overlay or kind of create additional, not even interactions, but more like features, I guess. I don't know. I also want to make something exciting too. It's seeing that kind of creativity that really makes you lights a fire under you, right? It makes you want to think like, okay, I really want to do something like that too. I still haven't figured out exactly what I can do though. Another person who's really good at that is like the Radio Solutions team. I remember they had that one stream where they had audience inputs to a printer where the printer could print stuff over a certain donation, and that was a really funny stream. Not only because of the images that got printed, but also because some of the good images got put up on a fridge. And at some point, somebody was like, "Show us what's in the fridge," and he was like, "You want to know what's behind the fridge? You want to know what's behind the fucking fridge?" And he gets like super serious, and he walks up to the fridge. He turns it over and reveals that it's a cardboard cutout. It was fake all along, and everybody started losing their minds. That was super funny. That had to be something that they knew what was going to happen in advance, right? Like the entire team knew that was going to happen in advance. That somebody would get curious about the fridge, because I feel like that was too well executed to be a spur of the moment thing. But yeah, it's stuff like that really inspires you. You know, streaming is a super interesting medium because it lets you do a lot of like interactivity, right? More so than anything else, right? Improv comedy uses a little bit of interactivity, but not in the same way that not in the same way, because with like improv comedy, you're in the theater with the person performing. And you could argue that chat fulfills a similar niche, but it's not really the case, right? Chat can't directly control the streamer in most cases, unless it's a very specific kind of stream. I've seen those TikToks of like the girl going like, "Yes, yes." I have seen those. It's a little bit different, or I guess that's just one subcategory of it, isn't it? I do always say that art is anything you can get away with, except plagiarism. If you've watched a new H-bomb video, you know that plagiarism is not under that consideration. Well, no, I guess it still counts. They just weren't able to get away with it. Sucks to be them. Let's see. Hang on, let me put this a little bit further and then just erase this part. Maybe if I hang on, let me get rid of these real quick. Let me set up a parallel line ruler. That'll help a lot with this. Oh yeah, there we go. Maybe we should move that up a little bit though. Hang on. Like so. There we go. Let's redo these ones too. That's a relief. Hang on. Now I see the problem. Now I see the circle. Okay, hang on. The issue is that the angle of the helmet itself is fundamentally inserviceable. I need to actually rotate it a little bit further, which will prove somewhat challenging, but I believe I can do it. Let me add 2 guidelines here. Okay. Grab the top part of this. I think we have everything except this little line here. Man, nobody's neck is having a good time today. All right. Let's take this from the top. Okay, erase this part here. Now I don't have to worry about accidentally getting the lines wrong. Okay, and then we can connect those two lines up there. Okay. Let's turn off that ruler for now. Let's take away some of the other references too, so we... The problem with doing something sick like this is that you need to constantly check yourself to make sure that it makes sense. Not in the sense that it makes sense in a logical way, but it makes sense in the kind of internal logic of it. It doesn't need to necessarily obey reality. It just needs to obey its own reality, so to speak. We can get rid of this. There we go. And we can have the dagger drop from his hand right here. Whenever I think of somebody getting hit so hard that they drop whatever they're holding, I remember that one clip from one of the Lupin movies where Pilot gets knocked out by Fumiko, and he drops his gun in like a very comical manner. The guy goes down. It literally feels like the guy is like a leaf of paper going down. And she just kind of catches the pistol out of his hand, and it's really good. It's well animated. I need to start watching more of the non-insane Lupin movies. I watched 2 of the most insane Lupin movies ever. And while they had decent animation, I need to watch the ones that had like really, really good animation. Especially possibly the really new one that released where they had that laser hallway for him. Let's see, grab this. The thing is, I watched the fucking... I watched 2 of them, right? I watched the one where... I actually forgot the second one that I watched. The first one that I watched, though, was this insane... Like, I watched 2 of them in a row. I watched it together in a server with friends. And the one that I watched was about them finding an entire underground bunker beneath the prison island of Alcatraz, and in there finding like a recording of either evidence or a recording of Kennedy getting assassinated. That shows like the assassination was like an inside job. It's so insane. It is. You could just do any old shit back in that era. There weren't any rules. Fucking Juice Beyond was on the TV. I never want to watch another episode of Juice Beyond for as long as I live. I watched two of them with in a watch along with a friend of mine, Jay, and they like warned us in advance that it was going to be fucking weird. I should have listened harder because I was not prepared. I genuinely was just not prepared for how weird it would get. I felt like I was in what the fuck? Oh, I see. I was fixing the width, not scaling it up. I felt like I was in like the equivalent. Like, have you ever seen that video of like those rats being tested in zero gravity by like NASA or some shit? I felt exactly like that. I felt like I was a rat in like a situation that I had never been in before. My world is so tiny and limited and so completely unlike what I'm currently experiencing that I feel like I have no choice but to go insane. I felt like I was looking at a page of the Necronomicon. Like I genuinely felt like I had some Call of Cthulhu ass HUD in my peripheral vision whenever they did another super jarring scene cut or something like that. I do think it was healthy. I don't. I wouldn't say it was good for me, but I do think it was healthy to experience something like that at least once. You know, it's kind of like how you need to hit rock bottom before you kind of gain the experiences you need to carry out normally, right? I've mentioned this before. I like to mention it very often. During one of the most formative experiences in the job that I currently have was just this awful client who I will not speak at length about. But it got so bad that I genuinely wanted to quit at one point. And after that, I just managed to handle everything just fine and dandy. It wasn't really an issue after that because I knew in my heart that it would never be as bad or as confusing or as fucking just. I felt like like my prey instincts were being activated whenever I got an email. That's not right. In any case, after I got through that client, I became a much more capable person. Perhaps not by choice, but definitely by through experience. And whenever it gets bad, I'm just like, okay, at least I don't have to deal with those guys ever again. I almost did have to deal with them, but but apparently some kind of thing happened and they weren't our clients anymore. Good riddance, I say. Like it was genuinely so bad that I think one of the managers on the other team quit. It was kind of crazy. But like I said, I'll never have to deal with those bozos ever again. And if they make me, I'm resigning. Presuming that it's not within the next 6 or so months. I need to stay for the next 6 or so months with these guys and then I can bounce. I'm probably gonna stay longer, but like I said, I have that as a trump card in case of emergencies, in case of trouble. Okay, let me shrink the helmet part here and expand it up here. Hmm. I think maybe now it's time to bring back the parallel line thing. Not just yet. In just a little bit though. I remember I was talking about a little while ago about like the different ways that we can enhance our streams, right? There was a thing that I was leading to with that. So obviously, the main things we can control are like the audio visual components of our own streams, right? As streamers, when is it going to be feasible to introduce smell as a dimension. I think it would be possible, right? You know, kind of like how people have watch-alongs. You might be able to like convince a sufficiently dedicated audience to try out similar Yankee Candle samples or something with you. But I remember reading about this thing called like the sense sensories, spelled sense like the smell thing, right? So what it was is that they were these vaguely disc-like items which had different um essences in them, right? So the idea was you would put one of these bad boys into a specialized proprietary Febreze device, which looked a lot like a CD player. And when you activated it, it would shuffle the fragrances around, creating essentially like a playlist of smells. Needless to say, it kind of flopped big time. I don't know if it was either because the technology was ahead of its time or because like it just they scents are a very tenuous thing. I feel they say that your memory is actually very strongly tied to scent. Whenever you smell something like even if you recognize it visually, if you recognize its scent, it actually triggers a much stronger memory response for some reason. That's why you can like remember certain people's smells, right? If it's like a family member or somebody who's close to you, you might actually notice that you remember how they smell of all things. And but yeah, I think they're starting to make a little bit of a comeback in regards to this kind of idea, right, of making a scent journey, so to speak. Because first of all, the technology has advanced a little bit more, and aromatherapy is like a pretty big thing. I don't know if we're fully there yet, though. I don't know how I can't give an estimate in years of how far out we are in like terms of smell technology because I feel like smells are actually one of the very delicate things, right? In fact, a lot of offices and more kind of medical sites in general are starting to go scent free, which means you can't wear any kind of scented perfumes or whatever the hell with you, right? Unfortunately, this has introduced a large difficulty into my usual strategy for calming myself down before visiting the doctor, which is to dump an entire bucket of Febreze essence onto myself, like Gatorade at the end of a big match in football. But I suppose I'll just have to cope. But yeah, for stuff like four-dimensional theaters, VR, I imagine that there is like an actual market. If not market, then at least a place where more technology like that could be developed. Maybe they'll have a second shot. Like I said, it'd be crazy if you could start if you could start featuring smells on your stream. I just know somebody would use that for like the most foul act of hacking ever. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really a big perfume or scent guy before these like bands and scents started coming around. Although I do like to put on like a nice little cream or scent every now and again, right? If I'm feeling fancy or something. I'm definitely one of those guys who doesn't maintain his appearance as much as others. But even I like to feel nice every now and again. Yeah, maximum effort is occasionally called for. Okay, we add these lines here. Okay, then over here. And I think the best thing to do would be actually to repurpose the ruler we've been using here. If I could see it. Where did the ruler go? Hello? Hang on. No, it's definitely still there. Where is it? Hang on. Where is this thing? I can't see it at all. Hang on. View. Ruler marking. Wait, no, there it is. I see it. I see the circle. I need to stop fucking saying that. Nobody understands the reference. Like 5 people understand the reference because nobody who watches this channel plays. Almost nobody who watches this channel plays Golden Gear. All right. Okay. I was doing something. Right, the action lines for the jetpack. Okay, there we go. Okay, erasing these parts here. Man, I hope this doesn't bring me some kind of vengeance once I need to color it. That would be a real bummer. All right, let's remove the ruler, not permanently, but temporarily once again. We're going to then like this. No, that's too mild is the problem. I think the problem is that they intersect. Yeah, hang on. And then one more thing is for the mask to get. Oh, crap. Hang on. What if I just copy and paste some of these? Is that overboiling it? Is that like over handling it? I think maybe if I. Is there a way I can like U-turn or L-turn, I guess? These suckers right here. Hang on. Doot. Let's put these here. And then maybe some more over here in the goggles section. Wait, no, these should go over. There we go. Maybe the solution isn't to remove the line so much as to maybe suppress them a little bit down here. So hear me out. We actually shrink these down a touch. Or actually, maybe not even shrink them down, just like make them more uniformly like around here. And that way the transfer's a little less jarring. Also, we're gonna need to simplify these suckers because they aren't fully straight. Not that one. That one can stay a little curvy. There we go. Okay. Now we bring back the body models. This is so much easier with the bodies. The problem is that like I'm struggling with the lines and the motion, but the problem is I would have struggled with that anyway, and now I just don't need to worry about like the anatomy at all. It's so nice. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Let me drink some water. Okay. On the topic of the holidays and December, I've noticed that a lot of people that I know, like a lot, have their birthdays sometime in December. Like I have like 4 or 5 people that I know whose birthdays are in December. And I don't know that many people is the problem. Like this would be less weird if I had like 100+ people that I knew. My circle is like surprisingly small, relatively speaking. And as I learned, that number now includes, well, he's not in my circle. I don't think he's in anybody's circle. The guy kind of just does his own thing because he's a tortoise. There's this tortoise named Jonathan who is apparently in the ballpark of 191 years old, and it was just his birthday very recently. Yeah, you can take or add a couple odd years in there. The problem is that like they don't know how old he is specifically because they found him, but like they didn't like raise him from birth. So we know that he's like he hatched in the ballpark of like 1832. He might be a little bit older, he might be a little bit younger, but you know, it's not a huge difference, broadly speaking. I wonder if he'll break 200. My boy will be celebrating the big 2-0. Oh. Okay. Then over here with the leg. Yeah. I was surprised to learn that he's not a Galapagos tortoise because I always associate those guys with being the longest lived jerks on the planet. Apparently, he's some kind of giant tortoise. I forget the specific variety, but he isn't the Galapagos tortoise. The oldest Galapagos tortoise was this one called Harriet, who hatched in approximately 1830, but has already passed away as of June 2006. For some reason, she was in Australia, which feels like a weird place for a Galapagos turtle to be in. Story has it that apparently Charles Darwin picked her up while he was on his voyages to do something to fuck around with the finches on Galapagos. But that story is very harshly contented because of the fact that one, that would be a weird souvenir to bring back, and two, apparently Harriet was originally from Santa Cruz, and Darwin never visited that area during his journeys, so it's hard to kind of corroborate the story by itself. Yeah, it's very unlikely that it was one of Darwin's pets in the end. I feel like those hands are too small. Let me make this part here just a tiny bit bigger. And clean that part up. I saw some issues with the hand there. I'll clean those up in a minute. Get back down here. There we go. That's a little better. Or at least that feels more correct to me. Okay, erase this, erase this. Put this here, put this here. Please tell me that didn't break her wrist. Yes! Okay, we are still good. Okay. Moving on. I do wonder if I shouldn't do anything for this part here. The problem is that this relies a little bit on this panel here, right? The problem is that this relies a little bit on the exhaust pipes here. Hang on. Maybe I can do a little something with it. Just, no, hang on. Darken. Huh, that's weird. Extract line? No. We gotta bring the frequency on these way down. Maybe we adjust the angle just a little bit around here. Lower the frequency a little more, too? Yeah, I guess that works. Let me also try something else. Darken, darken, darken. Nope. Alright, well, this isn't gonna work unless I can do a little bit of stuff with that darkening. So let's just throw it out for the time being. Okay, this next panel, okay. This next panel is solid enough that I don't need to worry about these two, but I do need to worry about these jerks in the back. Let me see if I can find, hang on, into taskbar. I accidentally unpinned Clip Studio Paint from my taskbar, so the problem is that now I have to manually reopen some of the pages. I think, yeah, I still definitely had like the background cooking in this one. Let me just grab it from there. Okay. Switch the perspective on this around a little bit. Like this, and then like this. Maybe a little bit further up and a little further out. Yeah, maybe like that. I don't know how to make all these guys in the background here, though. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Maybe, hang on. Let's add 3 random figures. Way too big. That guy is enormous. Let's just copy and paste him once we have him at the appropriate size. Bring you over here so we can have the crate for reference. Yeah, that's about right, I think. Yeah, a little bit bigger. All right, now we triplicate this guy. Like some kind of government document. Have you ever seen those videos of like dudes walking in lockstep? I'm kind of obsessed with those and the choreography of them. It looks like a lot of fun to do. All right, let's see. Knee. Hang on. On the knee. Nope. Nope. How about shooting? Or aim? On one knee? Nope. Wait, no, I think I had like the perfect ones. Weirdly enough, it looks like they're proposing. Here we go. Hang on, I want to see these guys in lockstep proposing too. Yo, somebody should make these. Somebody should make this into a TikTok thing. Get the fucking. Get those two Da Vinci guys on the horn for this. I don't know. There's something really funny about just really weirdly synchronized mundane actions. Something very satisfying about it. That being said, we can make these guys a little bit bigger too. On account of we'll need to hang on. We need to make them peek over the edge of the crates like this. Here we go. Drop this guy down, drop this guy down. It's so... There's something so endlessly amusing about this. Alright. Guy A. You will be positioned somewhere around... Uh-oh. Hang on, I'm gonna need to be able to see the rest of this thing while I do this. Yeah, that's true. I can reset the perspective whenever I want, but I need these guys to be in specific places. Yo, this Baldur's Gate mod sucks. Alright. Two dorks back here. One dork over here. Maybe a little bit bigger than that even. Just so that they peek over a little bit more easily. Okay, switch this guy around. Not behind the box, but a little bit further away from it. Wait, no, that guy's like peeking out over like that. Hang on. Shoot, maybe we can make them as small as I wanted. Hang on, go back and shrink these guys. There we go. I feel like only one of these guys would actually be all stanced up like that, and it'll be the guy with the thing here. So we can make him just a little bit bigger than the others. How do I increase the height of this sucker? Ah! Okay, so in my defense, I did not mean to do that or produce that sound. But I think you can all agree that that was an appropriate reaction for the thing we just witnessed. Anyway. Yeah, I think I accidentally... Hang on. At the body ratio, here we go. Okay, so somehow that doesn't seem right. Alright, so I think the lesson here is we shouldn't adjust the height too much. Let's not dick around with that too much. We'll just put this guy behind the crate over here. And let that be his final place of rest. I don't know why I'm talking like he's dying. He's just going behind a box. Realistically speaking, that actually gives him better odds of survival than anyone else. You know, he's got half his body down. He can duck under cover. Bro's actually got it pretty well off in the trenches here. Dude, my hungry ass could not be in the Great War trenches. Alright. Do we have anybody like Goblin Crab stance a little bit? We need somebody in like a low-ish stance. It's not super. Hang on, what about this one? Oh wait, actually that works a little bit because he needs to be aiming with a rifle. Let's put this guy a little bit over the box. We can have him levitate just a little bit. I want you. You want me, baby. This looks like the worst game show ever. This is like Family Feud from hell. And I'm really glad I downloaded all these idle posts because even though I don't use a whole lot of them, I still end up like repurposing them in different ways. What happens if I put this guy down when he's like that? Okay, actually no, this does work and I don't need to make him levitate. That's good. That makes me happy. Okay, so then do we have anybody who's like I don't know. Idols tend to do like crab walking, right? No. This is a good one, but it's not what. Imagine one dude's just like got his leg up in the air as an intimidation tactic. It reminds me of that. I don't remember if it was from Slam Dunk or something. I remember there was this one sports anime that I watched where, in order to intimidate the opposing team who was like coming into their school, all the guys from like the main team were just like flexing at them and showing off their muscles. Hang on, maybe like this. Yeah, that might work. This also works because this guy's a little bit knelt over. Drop those hips, soldier. Actually, this guy too. Come on, buddy. I know you've got it in you to drop it low. There we go. Weirdly enough, because it's not moving his arms now this is more of a gravure pose than an actual fighting stance. But that works. I will say if they add any update in the future, I'm kind of hoping that they add an update where they let you copy the pose for an individual limb. That is like on my wish list of updates that Celsius puts out. Okay, setting this arm outward. Let me take a look at the like 3D perspective on this. Okay, let's do it top down. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he's in the about right place. He just needs to move his shoulder a little bit. And not have his hand on his face. Okay. Switch this over like this. Okay, then we have to rely on Old Reliable holding an umbrella. Don't I have like holding a gun? Hang on. Gun. Yeah, there we go. I was wondering, did I have one for a gun specifically? Hang on, I gotta shift this nerd's shoulder. Not because I did both of his hands with that pose on accident. Now he looks like Joseph Joestar in fucking All-Star Battle. Bro, if this guy tried to do like your next line is going to be such and such with Hawk right now, he would be like, your next line is going to be watch out for this pipe bomb or think fast, chuckle nuts. Ay, ay, ay. I do have to thank internet memes for giving me the possibly funniest possible way to announce that I'm throwing something at somebody, which is think fast, chuckle nuts. Specifically, I have to thank Team Fortress 2 because that's like the one I associate the most with it. I'm pretty sure that line came originally from Scout, but I don't remember the specifics of it. It's been a while since I've. No, he didn't say it in the Meet the Team videos. I don't remember when Scout said think fast, chuckle nuts. That might just be the Mandela effect. But I can so clearly hear it in his voice. Okay. Then over here. Come on, bud. Please tell me that that's like at least close to his hand. Oh, lordy, no. Okay, here's what we do. Okay, I'm thinking that maybe we what do you call, reverse the decision to make that guy do be in like knife stance. No, he just looks like he's mega accusing the other guy. No, it was him who ate the pudding. There we go. All right, now we fucking move. We move this arm. We are so back. All right, hang on. Move this arm like so, and then like this. Okay, move this over here. Okay, then like this. Hmm. Oh, this is turning out a little weird. Hang on. Close enough. I think. Hang on. Yeah, close enough. Yeah, close enough. He'll be fine. It's just a dislocated wrist. Hmm. I do wonder how he's. I know that for shoulders, resetting a dislocated shoulder is like a classic thing that you see, right? Like, oh, I dislocated my shoulder, and then like one scene later, some dude pops it right back into place, and it's fine and dandy, even though it has a little bit of a pinch there, right? I do wonder if that, obviously that's unrealistic. I imagine that the trauma from having the dislocated would actually last much longer than shown on, than what would be shown on screen for the purposes of entertainment. But I do wonder what like the timeline is for stuff like a dislocated wrist, because I feel like that one isn't as. I feel like a wrist has way more stuff going on in there, more delicate stuff than say a shoulder. Okay, this guy in the sniper stance. Okay, at least what I'm trying to sell as a sniper stance. What actually helped me a lot to understand firearms is something that happened as a complete coincidence. I was watching this rather old anime. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if it's old enough to like call it like ancient now, but it's been a while since it was released. Fucking Lucky Star, right? The originator of Out of Touch Thursdays. I was watching that as a kid, and during one of the segments, they invited a the main character's like cousin or yeah, I think she was like a cousin or something to one of those like gallery shooting games. And she trained with a handgun actually, but like the gallery shooting game had a rifle. So the gag was that she was trying to hold this rifle in like pistol grips when it was like a stock grip. But that actually helped me really clearly understand like what how to hold a rifle and like what it is supposed to look like. Because when I saw her holding the rifle in like a pistol grip, I was like, oh wait, okay. Like seeing it done wrong actually helped me to understand it done right. Because I'd never really understood why a rifle is held the way it is. But like that helped me understand it quite a lot. Okay, how far away are these two? Not very far away at all. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of cinema magic here. Hang on. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, then over here. Come on, bud. No, please. Come on, man. Would you get there? There you go. Get your shit together. Okay, and then just a little bit like this and a little bit like this. Yes. Okay, that should be it for setting up the guys in the background here. Now we just have to reset that perspective that we were working on earlier. I don't know if like, hang on. I'm trying to figure out what kind of foreshortening would be better. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this might be too extreme. Conversely, this one just makes it no clip. Hmm. Let's position this guy a little bit more sideways too. Okay. Hmm. I say we try finishing up at least one of these guys back here, and then we move on to the. I don't know what would be better. Starting the foreground? Now the foreground is going to be really complicated. Let's start. Let's start by doing the background. We have the models for that set up anyway. All right. So then. Ah, I see. Okay. Let me take another quick sip of water while I'm at it. Okay. No, come on. Why is it still? Oh, is it? Oh, it's actually the color of it. When did it get to be like that? Well, whatever. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, let's simplify this sucker a little bit. Okay. Actually, wait, we can do this. There we go. That keeps the width, but doesn't change the direction of it too much. All right, that's perfect. Okay, like this. Put this over here. Hmm. Yeah, that's following the path. That's fine. Okay, bring this back here. Hmm. Yes, that's about right. Okay, then lower the thickness of these two. Here we go. We need one more. Come to think of it, a cube has 6 sides, right? That's like an established fact. So that means that if it's got if it's got 6 sides, then how many lines does it have making it up? It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Okay, so we've got 4 lines here. 4 lines. No, it would be 12. Yeah, that makes sense actually because yeah, we'd have 4 lines connecting the two squares here, each made up of 4 lines. So yeah, 3 times 4, that's 12. Okay. So I would have to draw exactly 11 lines to get a cube, or at least a cuboid shape. Huh. Now I'm trying to think of it in terms of like strokes, right? Like, you know how some characters in like Chinese and Japanese are measured in the number of strokes that they have? Hmm. I know that for at least the way I learned to do the square stroke, right, is you start with this one, you go like this, and then you go like this. And that's supposed to make like the square character. If you want to get a little fancy with it, you can leave a little bit of extra room down here. You also have the moon and the sun. The moon can also mean month, or rather, it also means month in addition to moon. Language is so interesting because I don't know why, in terms of like weeks and such, people seem to measure in moons rather than suns in most cases. I don't know why. Like a lot of like timekeeping iconography is based on moons. Maybe because they have like observable phases and the sun is always static. Maybe that's why it's easier to use it as a cycle. That's possibly an explanation. I'm no anthropologist, though. I can't say for sure whether it is or it isn't accurate. I know the Chinese zodiac, for example. You know how they cycle through like a 12-year cycle of the different animals? I think that one was based on Jupiter or something. Although, don't quote me on that, though. As opposed to the kind of Western zodiac, which is based on the positions of the stars themselves, which is a little bit harder to track. The good news is if you don't like your Western star sign, you can just wait out. You know, if you're willing to hang on long enough, you can just wait yourself out until technically you're in a different category altogether. During the month of your birth, the star sign that was originally yours would have been in a different place. That's one strategy. Although you'll likely be waiting for a very long time. I know some people are happy to play the long game, though. I'm not really an astrology kind of guy myself, so I can't say for. I'm always pretty happy with like the. You know, I'm not particularly attached or unattached to the star sign that I have. That's not true. One time I did resent it, and that was because I realized that my Homestuck control would have been like the one that I like the least. Oh man. Yeah, I think that was the only time I was like trying to finagle. Like, okay, would it be possible that I had like a second option? But no, there was no escape. I don't know. Are there like a lot of like ex Homestuck people who like disowned the troll that represented their star sign? I feel like that had to have been a thing. It's like that one scene from The Incredibles where he's like, "You do not represent me. You are not associated with me." Rather, I think that was the actual line. Okay. Oh, I took two of these for some. Oh, I took both. I took. I took the one I copied and the one I didn't. Hang on. Let me bring this one back up. Back up here. Hmm. I need to curve their fingers a little more because it's a little hard to justify them having those dogs pointing out like that. I should probably put the actual guns in their hands too, huh? That might be a good way to close out the stream. Just have these guys all kind of ready to go for next time. Although ideally, if I'm working on the kind of schedule that I want to be working on, I'll finish the line art for this page by the time it's the next stream time. Which is just a little bit unrealistic, but you have to set strong goals for yourself, I think. Here we go. Shrink this down a little bit. Let me move this around too. Can I make it intersect with the goon so I know where I'm pointing it? Hang on. Oh, the easiest thing to do would actually be to set it on top of this crate here, wouldn't it? There we go. And then just kind of like this, and then hang on. Okay, a little bit further up. Little smaller. Up and over. Hang on. Let's see if I can't zoom in a little bit on this without losing the plot entirely. Yeah, see, that's a little bit unsuitable. Let me select my gun. Hang on, is there like a thing that I could do? Hang on. Here we go. Directional 1, directional 2, goon laser pistol. Here we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, move this around like this. Yeah, boy. There we go. Okay, then next up, we gotta put another one of these in that guy's hands. Actually, no, we can copy and paste this one, can't we? Hang on. Maybe go with this one just a tiny bit bigger again. Hang on. Let me try and put this pistol a little bit further in the guy's grip. See if that tickles my fancy. Come on, bud. There we go. Okay, now we duplicate this one. Bring it over to this guy. Oh wow, it's almost like practically already in his grip, isn't it? That's quite handy. Pun intended. Okay, then finally we need... I might end up having to redraw the cubes here, but that's fine. That took like 5 minutes max. Okay. You go on the box. You go somewhere I can see you first, actually. Hang on. There we go. Okay, let me turn this guy around. Get rotated. As they say. Yes? Yes. Okay, so he... This is kind of a funny way to hold a rifle. Completely incorrect, but kind of a funny way. Okay, then bring this down. Yes. There we go. Alright, the Goon Squad is fully equipped. Okay. Let me just pop my wrist a little bit here. Very good. Come on, buddy. There we go. That's practically the same thing. Good as new. Nobody will even notice. Alright. I think that's gonna end it here for today. I've been jawing on for a little while. Who's streaming today? Is anybody streaming today? Somebody's gotta be streaming today. Man, it's a good thing you can't rate into yourself, or else I'd be doing that all the time. Oh, BZ is doing some rigging with a very unique looking model, so we'll go say hi over there. Alright. Hang on. Say BZ. Okay. I will be back on Wednesday, question mark? Yes, Wednesday to do a little bit more work here. I will catch you all later. Have a great rest of your week. Strong start to the Monday. And I will see you all later. Bye.